Welcome to Dropping Diamonds with me, AJ Andrews, where we dive headfirst into the world of softball. Today we are joined by none other than the 2025 AUSL All-Star champion. She's also Kentucky's all-time leader in runs scored. She's on Team USA. She's a blaze catcher. It is none other than the one and only Kayla Kowalik. Thank you for joining me.
Absolutely, AJ. I'm so excited.
Oh, well, I'm excited that we get to talk about all the things that you do because, sometimes catchers y'all don't get the love that you guys deserve. Like, you
It's
guys
okay.
are doing correct.
We're
Amen.
used to it. I'm used to it by now. I've been doing this long enough that we don't need any credit anymore. It's fine.
Which, first of all, if you can, having knees like Megan is probably already a feat enough, let alone being able to drop it low for 2 hours and then make throws and then go up and actually have to hit. Like just thinking about it, I think my knees cracked already. But as we continue to get going and talk about your amazing career and all that you do, I like to start our discussions with a good affirmation. And one one quote that I feel like is something that we could kind of move off of and create a good affirmation from is because I'm doing this on speed because not only is Kayla thoroughly fast behind the plate, but she also runs really fast from the plate to first base to second to third home. So the quote is, moving fast isn't the goal, moving correctly is. That's what we want to do, whether it's on the field or just in life, right? Moving with
Yeah,
intention, moving
I
correctly is not
love that.
necessarily about the
Yeah,
speed, but about the direction. Because you can be going really, really
100%.
fast in the wrong direction and end up nowhere versus going slowly towards what you want and towards your goals and end up at the highest peak. What do you think is the affirmation we could pull from that?
Well, I always tell my girls, like, go as slow as you need to go in order to get it right. And then
Mm.
once we start getting it right, then we can start speeding it up. But I think everybody's still like, when you jump into things, people want to go 100%. They want to go fast, 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 fast. But like, we have to learn first. Let's learn how to do it right. And then let's speed it up and let's be quick with it.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so I don't know why, but rhyming is like my jam. So redo, go as
Ooh.
slow as you need to go to get it right so that longevity in the success is in sight.
Oh, wait, you
Do
kind
we
of did that.
snap?
You, you
I
kind
think
of
we
hit that.
snapped. I think we snapped. Okay, go as slow as you need to go to get it right so that longevity in success is in sight. All right. I love it.
You killed that. Write that, right, take notes, take notes.
I did take notes. It's also being recorded. So that's also a plus.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You killed that.
Kayla, do you have a quote that you feel like you've lived by or that, has really stuck with you throughout your career?
Oh gosh. I something that has always resonated with me is like when someone tells you can't do. And that's like something I felt always growing up, like being like non-traditional. Like you don't see a lot of catchers who are slappers. You don't see a lot of catchers who are fast. And growing up, I never necessarily was someone who was ranked or a big player. So something I've always kind of lived by is like when someone tells me I can't, I'm gonna go do.
It's like dare. You just dared me.
100%.
Thank you. Yeah.
100%. Like you said, I can't do that. Bet.
But thank
We're
you.
gonna go do it
Actually,
right now.
great. I actually wasn't really necessarily concerned about it before, but now I'm going to do
Correct.
it.
Was not on my radar, but now
Yeah.
it is.
Well, jumping off of what we were talking about of it's almost like you're daring me when you say I can't do something. I I saw this quote the other day and it just resonated with me so well. It's like I attribute a lot of my success, if not most of it, to spite. Like doing all these things just in
100%.
spite of people.
I I've never resonated with something more, and I don't know how to tell people that where they're like, "What motivates you?" And I'm like, I don't wanna say that because it doesn't necessarily reflect well on me, but that's 100%. I'm like, I do it because I feel like people don't think I can.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Like, here you go.
Yeah.
So I resonate with that fully.
AJ, you're so good at what you think you. I do everything out of spite. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Not literally, but you know, you guys know what I
But
mean.
like
A lot.
sort of. There's
Yeah,
something
but sort of.
underlying
Yeah.
there. 100%.
There's always truth to every just kidding.
Absolutely.
Okay, look, while growing up, I mean, what makes you super athletic is similar to me. You played a lot of sports when you were younger.
I
You
did.
softball, volleyball, basketball, ran track, as which is a lost art nowadays. Playing, being a multi-sport athlete before getting into one sport focused. How do you feel like playing so many sports really shaped you as a softball player?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think I can look at softball a little bit differently because I played so many sports. I grew up with I have a twin sister, and so we've grown up doing literally everything together. But I think like playing volleyball and running track has really grown my game. Like when I'm hitting, I'm thinking about volleyball 100%. Like you don't always have to hit a home run. You don't have to hit the ball as hard as you can. It's about where you place the ball and strategically thinking about where the defense is. That way you can get a point. And that's how I think about like my hitting is I'm not really going out there to hit doubles and home runs. And sure that happens, but I'm fine with the bloop singles. I'm fine with poking the ball through a hole. I'm fine with really bad hits ending up in my favor because how does the defense cover that? And I think that has really adapted my style of offense. And I think obviously, like helping me be strong, be dynamic, running track has helped me run the bases immensely. And it's just, being able to put your body in uncomfortable positions because catching is not fun all the time. And playing a lot of positions and doing a lot of things throughout high school has strengthened my body.
Man, I always like whenever being in the outfield, I attribute so much to. I remember going to LSU and doing like, you do your first in the fall, you do like all your little assessment and the little personal days. Well, came in late because that something had happened. But anyway, I went to go make a diving catch, and Coach Trina was always saying how you just read the ball differently than what we see with a lot of outfielders. And I attribute that to basketball. Like, I played a lot of basketball, and I played AAU basketball, traveled a lot, very competitive, and I was very good defensively. Like, I was very good at reading or anticipating where the ball was gonna be, where they were gonna throw the ball, what passes they were gonna make, and I feel like that went into softball of me anticipating where the ball was gonna land oftentimes to where I would take routes that maybe the average person wouldn't take because of just, the way I'm seeing it. And a lot of that is being able to play different sports and learning so much of what you learned in those different sports, which everyone that's young, listen, play multiple sports before you get sports specific. Also,
Go
I was
do it
never
all,
injured.
please.
Oh my God.
No, literally,
Yeah.
I've never had a major injury, and it's like, how have you never had a major injury? I'm like, I have like my body has done literally everything it can do. I I touch and I turn on courts. I do all of the things that like my body is used to all of like if I'm put in an uncomfortable situation in softball, maybe the ground slips, maybe the grass slips under my feet. Like, you're used to those movements, your body is accustomed to it. I can't preach more to, like, younger girls that we give camps to that we see and it is hard these days because of recruiting and all the stuff, like, softball's getting so serious so early. Go do all the things. Like,
All
when I
the
played
things.
volleyball and all the stuff, like, it was fun for me. It was competitive 100%. Like, I wanted to win everything, but it's like a nice little vacation away from softball, which was my real job. Okay, I can go play a sport and have fun and not put so much pressure on myself. And I think that also attributes to a very healthy mentality when you play.
Mhm. Healthy mentality, something to release, something where you're not being judged on or have to figure out where you're gonna be placed at. But also, whether you know it or not, you're working muscles that you're not gonna work in softball or in the sport that is your main sport that keeps you from being injured. I didn't get injured until my freshman year in college when I really became sport specific. So, but for you being a catcher, gosh, there's just so much that I mean, you're doing all the athleticism plus gear, like, all the things that everyone has to worry about and be concerned about, and then it's like, "Yeah, go ahead and add a few more pounds." Also add a helmet while I'm doing it to obstruct my vision a little bit. For you, what made you I kinda know. I mean, you started going into catching because of your twin sister, right? Your twin sister pitched, and your parents were like, "Yeah, well, we don't wanna catch her, so Kayla, you're up." And then you became a pitcher, but it's one thing to start in one position. I've been a pitcher at one point in my life, never
I think
stuck.
everybody has to be a
Right.
pitcher at one point.
But then it's one thing to stick. So what made you really love catching? and what keeps you passionate about it today?
Well, so we talked about how I think everybody's become a pitcher at some point, and the
Mhm.
reason I, like, started pitching for a very brief moment was because you were locked in at every point of the game. I
Mhm.
didn't like being in the circle, I didn't like being, like, in that position on the field, but catcher allowed me to be kind of in that role where I'm involved in every single play that's happening right now, and it's keeping me locked in and engaged mentally, and it keeps you moving forward. So I can't sit here and dwell on a bad play or whatever it may be because the pitcher's throwing the next ball to me and I've gotta be ready. And I think that's been one of the things I have always loved is just being involved in everything. And of course, my sister, who I caught her lessons literally until we graduated high school,
Yeah.
and I mean that was probably the best experience and one of the best core memories that I'll have in my life.
I always want that one chance to, like, play with Aaliyah. We've never played together. I'm like, "Ah, just one game. Let's just
Just
do
once,
one
just once.
game. Let's do the things. Just say we did it."
So fun to share a dug. It really is so fun to share a dugout, and then like in college, we played against each other for a couple games, and to be across the dugout is
Oh, it's
hilarious, but
probably nuts, huh?
it is. It really is.
Especially surreal, you know, like, that year, that first year out of college where it just feels it's like an out-of-body experience watching Kentucky play or watching LSU play. You just feel like you're supposed to be there missing something. I imagine it probably feels like that having played with your sister your entire life, and then all of a sudden you see her across the field in another dugout. It's like,
Yeah.
"Hey."
It's like the ultimate FOMO, because I mean,
Yeah.
we did everything together growing up. We went to a tiny Catholic school that we had the same friend group, we had the same teammates, we had all of these things that we shared. We shared a room growing up. Like, we shared so many things just to be completely separated, and she, like, had her own friends in college, and I had my own friends in college. I'm like, "I've never felt like I've missed out more in my life." I'm like, "Did we
Oh,
have gone to the same school together?" But it worked out absolutely the way it was intended to.
did she pitch against you in the games you
She
guys
So when she
Oh,
went to college, she decided she didn't wanna pitch because she wanted to be a hitter and she liked playing in the field.
okay.
And, a lot of pitchers get turned into POs when they get to college, and that's not something that she wanted to do. She wanted to play a position and be involved that way. So she was a center at St. Louis University.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna ask if you guys had, like, twin telepathy, if you could kinda, like, read her mind, what pitch she was gonna throw, and, like,
Oh, ju
have a little
well,
bit of an advantage.
no, there was
No?
no advantage. In fact, the one when we played each other our 5th year together, her team, like, we were not supposed to lose, and her team was beating us up until, like, the 5th or 6th inning, and, I mean, I'm super competitive,
Mhm.
and there was nothing on the line in this game besides bragging rights in our family for the next 20 years, and if I lost, my dad would have never let me live that down, and it was the most I couldn't even enjoy playing her for for our 5th year because I was so stressed out about losing.
I can imagine that would be like that. But you guys won, right? You ended up winning?
We did, thank
Yeah.
goodness, thank goodness.
You've worn number 99 since the beginning of time. Is there a story behind that number since you were 8 years old?
Okay, so not a crazy story. So when I first got to pick my number in 8U, I wanted to be 100. And so they come up and they're like writing stuff down on a piece of paper. They're, Kayla, what number do you want to be? I'm like, 100. They're like, you can't be 100 because you can't have three numbers on your jersey. And I was like, this is lame. This sucks.
I said, "I'm out of everybody's
And
league. Why wouldn't I be
and
100?"
come on, man. So I subtracted one and did 99 to be as close to 100 as I could be. And I've stuck with that number ever since. I had my own high school jersey made that way we could have it, and ever since I've been there.
I feel there's, like, a rap that goes to that. "Listen, can't be 100, so I'm just 99, but looking good, looking fine." I don't know if I just wanna be a rapper really bad or what,
I
like, what's
think
going on with
I
all the rhyming.
did we find your calling? I
I
think we have
you know,
to.
I honestly feel like I'm more along the lines of, like, slam poetry than actual
Oh,
rapper, but either way, the rhymes are
I
necessary
think
for
it's
me.
a fine line between those two. I think they can be easily interchangeable.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Natasha Watley was your someone that you really modeled your game after. being that you are a catcher, she was a shortstop, but then you add in the slapping component and the speed component. What was it that you really tried to model from Natasha? I imagine it was being at the plate.
Absolutely. I mean, she was just so dynamic. I grew up watching her compete with Team USA when I was a little kid and just loved how dynamic she was in the box and how many tools she could use to get on base. And it's so fun to watch when someone can do all of the tools and use them really, really well. Because I mean, hitting in this game is super hard, but when you
Yeah.
can slap and you can hit and you can do certain things slapping and you can add the bunt game to it, it's truly unreal. But when you can do all of the things, it makes it so fun to watch and it makes you such a hard out that it actually makes my life easier as a softball player to be able to have all those fallback. And so I've loved watching Natasha growing up, and I mean she's still one of my idols today, and I love that she gets to call some of our games and I see her around on the field. And it's truly a full circle, such a cool moment that we get to have in the sport.
Have you asked her any questions or asked her any insight?
I haven't, but actually the first time that I, like, truly met her face to face was at a hotel, in a hotel in Chicago, and she got on the elevator and I was going down with all of my laundry to go to laundry, and I was like, "Oh, hi, Natasha Watling. I love you. You're my idol. This is awkward. These are my clothes."
It's
But
like, "Hey, yeah, you've been my idol since." I remember that was literally me when I first met Natasha. Now it's my girl, but when I first met her, I was like, "Hi, I don't know if I'd play softball if it wasn't for you." So,
no,
just super
100%.
casual, "Hi."
I think that's such a cool thing too, is, like, we get to see these awesome women that, like, who knows if I would have loved the game of softball as much as I did and wanted to do it if it weren't for these awesome athletes who were so fun to watch when I was growing up, who, like, modeled the game and gave me something to, like, strive for and see myself in. I think that is so cool because I love this sport because of all the people who've come before me.
Truly. Some of you have paved the way, and you being one of the people that are now paving the way for so many, especially speed players, because immediately when you are fast or you are stepping onto the field and you could really move, everybody immediately thinks, well, okay, shortstop or outfield or, middle infield. That's just like the immediate thought of where they should place a player like that. But you've changed the dynamics and you've allowed and you've probably inspired so many young girls to believe that they're not stuck in a certain position just because that they're fast. When you think about what it is that you've been able to do and being able to be a speed player and be a catcher, how do you want to motivate or inspire others the way in which Natasha did for you?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's a wonderful position, and I still sometimes like stepping back and looking at like the position that I am in now. It's kind of hard to believe that like I am now a role model for little girls, and I that's why I've gotten into coaching is to just to give back in the way that my coaches have given to me. But like I hope people are so untraditional in the way that they play softball going forward. I want untraditional swings. I want untraditional people in untraditional positions just because I think that's what makes the sport great. Like in volleyball, like you're tall and you're lanky and sure you have your back row players who can be a little bit shorter, but I feel like there's such a mold that you fit for certain sports that softball has never been that mold and you can do so many things if you just push yourself into what you want to do. Like I enjoy playing the outfield. It's fun. I'm gonna leave that for you and Aaliyah and all you crazy ball raiders. But I think softball is so cool because you can do so many things and be so untraditional in how you do it, and it's still gonna work out. Like we have a 5 foot player on our team now, and we have someone who's 6'3", and they do different things, but they are still so awesome and so dynamic in this sport that like that's the agenda that I want to push is you don't have to fit inside a box to play this sport.
Yeah, I think that is the coolest thing about a sport. Like you look around and typically you see someone super tall, you look at the build, you're like, okay, probably basketball. Or you see someone super tall, look at the build, okay, probably volleyball. And then you can just tell by certain body type just because that's what we need and utilize in order to be great athletes. But when you look at softball, you never know. I get
You
asked
never
if I
know.
run track all the time. Yeah, you never know. I'm like, yeah, no, I play softball. And so I think that it's your point, it's the beauty of our game that you don't have to look a certain way or be a certain size and you go out and be dominant no matter what the position that you choose to play. And when you being a catcher, what do you feel like makes someone a dominant catcher? What makes someone so successful behind the plate?
I think there's a lot of tools and I think there's a lot of skill work that goes into it, but I think above all is presence. Like I have never seen a good catcher that's not a little bit cocky, that's not a little bit overconfident or have a presence on a field where you're locked into them. And I think a common word we use now is like having aura. Like I think you need a little bit of that to be a catcher and just be a dog behind the plate. And I think you can have a whole bunch of different tools. Maybe you don't have the tools, but above all else, like you need to be a little bit cocky behind the plate. And I love seeing that from catchers and I love seeing that from like younger generation, like own that position. That's not a position you can shy away from.
Why do you think it's important to be cocky, to have that flair? I think the kids call it aura farming
There yes.
nowadays. Aura
Yes.
farming, getting the flair. Why is that something that's so necessary in order to be a great catcher?
Well, I to be honest, like I think it's a little bit of delusion. Like you have to think you're better than you are because I think it is such a hard position. And because you are involved, and I think pitchers are the same exact way. You are so involved in every single play that you need to have presence and you need to be locked in for your team. So
Mhm.
whether like some people, it's just they're like keep saying presence, but if they're vocal on the field, they're connecting with the people that are on the field. You can't be someone that's in a squat all day, not interacting with your teammates because people say the quarterback and, coaches, whatever, may run the field. Catchers can run it a little bit, but catchers really are like they are the rock solid front behind home plate and they see everything. Like you have to have a presence, you have to have confidence, and you have to have a voice behind the plate.
I always feel like I don't know why I always thought the catchers like just the generals. Y'all just like big dogs back there. I mean, outside of outfield, you see the whole field. So
Mhm.
it's catchers and it's pretty much center field, but all outfield see the entire
Yeah.
field and see what takes place and goes on. And for you, when you look at what you're looking around, is there something specific that's important to pay attention to when you're on the field as a catcher? Outside of when you're obviously making the catches and pitches, is there something you're looking for? Or maybe as you step before you put your helmet on, is there a routine that you have that really sets you in the zone, gets you cocky, or maybe even gives you another personality, you know what I mean? A
Yeah.
mantra to step on the field.
Yeah, well, it's definitely using the space that you have behind the mountain. Like you'll see, like infielders and outfielders, they'll like walk around, keep themselves moving, and catching is the same way. Coming out from behind home plate, making eye contact with the corners, making eye contact with your pitcher. Like for me, big things are eye contact. Like knowing that you're there for your teammates instead of just visualizing that they're there. Like, oh, I know my third baseman, my first baseman are there. Like, no, you need to make eye contact with them, lock in, see where they're at to kind of understand the feel of the game. And like it just builds those relationships. And I think one of the things I've learned that like Bailey Klingler talks about is like being that Wi-Fi router. Like you have to go in and you have to connect with your teammates. So be that little router that's going in and connecting. Okay, you have Wi-Fi. You have Wi-Fi now, and just making that eye contact with everybody.
Ooh, I think that's so cool. Be that Wi-Fi router. Wow, because like the impact, especially in moments maybe when the team is down, like how when you are trying to connect with, say, your pitcher or the rest of the field, because the catchers, in my opinion, take control when things are kind of taking a turn. Being the person that connects all the Wi-Fi, you coming out as a catcher, you really take control of the field, especially in moments when things aren't going so well. Is there something that you typically say, or does it depend on the circumstance to know how you're going to connect to Wi-Fi?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's absolutely circumstantial. And I think a big piece of that is understanding who's on the mound and what pitcher is on the mound. I mean, we call the pitcher and the catcher the battery all the time. And that's so true. Like they can give life and they can suck life right out of the team and the defense if it's not used correctly. But I think something that I love to like if stuff is going the wrong way, like you give a timeout, if it's defense, we reset, bring everybody in. Let's connect. What's our focus here? Who's on base? How many outs? Just resetting physically and slowing down the pace of the game. And if it's more of a pitcher situation that we need to figure out, I'm usually calling timeout, talking to the pitcher one on one, asking them what pitches they want to throw, and probably cracking a joke or two just to kind of lighten the mood. Because I think a lot of times we get tense and we think the situation is a lot bigger than it is. Let's crack a little joke. Let's figure out what we want here out of this situation. What's our goal? Let's visualize it and then let's get back to it.
When you crack a joke, is it like dark humor? I feel like in those moments,
sometimes.
I'm always like, guys, it can't get any worse. So
No,
how about we,
so
yeah,
that's literally in college, my favorite thing was I'm like, "What are they gonna do? Score another run?" Like,
yeah,
like, "Let's go." And that's kinda what it is. I'm like, "You guys, it can't get any worse." Or,
yep.
"You guys, let's get 1 out. We don't even have to get 2 outs. Get 1 out right here." So that's my favorite because I mean, it's true. Like, what is the worst thing that's gonna happen? We're gonna pitch the ball, they're gonna put the ball in play, we're either gonna make it out or we're not. Like, the game is so simple if you really truly wanna simplify it. We don't have to overcomplicate everything. We're either gonna get the out or we're not gonna get the out. They're gonna put the ball in play or they're gonna strike out. And they could walk, hit by pitch, whatever it may be, but you can truly simplify the game, and that's a lot of the time what I'm trying to do. I'm like, "Let's put the ball to our barrel. Let's get it out.
And just make it happen.
Make it happen.
Just
Someone's
make it
gonna do
happen.
it."
Do you feel like being a catcher helps you up in the plate?
100%. I don't
Ooh,
think
tell me
like
why. Yeah, I feel like I need to just like catch every now and then just to help myself.
yeah, I mean, I just think it's like I feel like it of course it's a different angle, different visualization, but I think every pitch I catch is a pitch I can think about hitting. And I'm constantly thinking about what I could do on pitches like to hit them better. And I think it helps better understand the umpire strike zone when I'm up to the plate. And I think it helps me better understand. And I think especially with athletes unlimited because we're mixing teams all the time, I'm understanding pitchers far more than a lot of our position players to where when I go up to bat, I know sequences and I know what they're trying to throw me. I know what they're trying to throw some of our hitters. And I try and help them out with that sometimes. But I think it helps me immensely with Athletes Unlimited just because I'm understanding the pitcher on a deeper level.
Do you feel like you see the pitches better as well? Like, is it does help you slow it down a little bit?
It does.
Yeah.
Being able, like, I went from I'm gonna use George Court, for example. Like, I went from, playing against George to catching George to playing against her again, and just like, when I'm catching her balls, I'm, like, understanding the spin and what this ball is truly doing that I never realized her ball moved as much as it did on a screwball until I caught her, and then when I'm
Right.
hitting, I'm like, "Oh, you know what? I understand this now." So I think it gives me a true perspective that a lot of people don't get because I'm diving deeper. I'm talking to pitchers all the time about how they like to throw, what they like to throw, that I think it's unfair to say I don't have an advantage.
Mhm. I wonder if it's just like, guys, every now and then just volunteer to, catch in the bullpen. When you
Oh,
have your
yeah.
free time, go ahead and do that and sneakily
I've
get that little
never turned
advantage.
down.
Yeah.
Never turn if I could have I've had like 4 or 5 pitchers in a day ask if I can catch a bullpen. I'm like, "I'll catch every single one of you."
For you, wink, wink.
Yep.
I'm only helping
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
wink. Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
pitchers. Woo!
Well,
Tee.
all that you've been able to do, we talked so much about defense, but we cannot negate that you are a weapon when it comes to the plate, not just behind it, but when you're standing on it. You hold multiple career records at Kentucky, and you're easily and widely considered one of the greatest to wear the uniform. When you look back at your time at Kentucky, being able to step up to the plate, not only slap, get on for speed, but also power. I remember reporting against you or on you in SEC Network and be like, I don't know, I'd be kind of scared. Like she just can do everything. And it's hard. I tell you already when coach kids, it's hard to defend someone that is just undefendable. Like you can you back up, she put the bun down. You move up, she can hit it right past you. And I would say that is Kayla to a T. What would you say that you're most proud of, especially in your involvement as a player at Kentucky?
Well, I think something like is to note is like I hold the career record for runs scored, and I think that's super awesome because you look and it's an insane number. And I think it's so cool because it's something that I don't do myself. Like I think I probably had like I don't even know how many career at bats, not a whopping amount of home runs. So that means my team is scoring me so much. And it's probably Erin Coffel like 70% of the time because she's unreal.
MVP.
Um, seriously, but I think that's one of my favorite ones because that involves an entire team is moving me around the bases and scoring me, and I think that that's super cool. and something that I love scoring. It's literally my favorite thing to do on the planet. It's catching home plate.
What do you feel like when you're at the plate really allows you to be so successful? Is it just the consistency in the cages? Is it being able to read the pitches? What do you feel like really helped you, not just in college, but then now also moving on to pro?
So I've never been a mechanical hitter. I've never been someone who's going up to I'm like when I'm going into my hitting sessions, I'm trying to fix something. I've never tried to fix any part of my swing aside from maybe I'm hitting a certain pitch wrong. Like if I'm getting on top of the drop ball, okay, let's get under it. But I think mechanics are fine. I'm just going to try and put my barrel on a ball. I don't care how. I think, probably one of the ugliest swings in the pro league. But it works because I'm not trying to have good mechanics for certain pitches. I'm trying to hit every pitch imaginable. And I think that helps me because I'm not trying to there are certain mechanics that work on certain pitches and certain things that work in certain counts. But I'm just trying to see the ball and I'm trying to poke it in the hole that you're not because I truly don't care how I look in the box. I just
Yeah.
want to get on base.
I think that's something that's so important because I feel like so many times people want their swing to look well, they want it to be a certain way, but in reality, it's how much you can make contact and how consistently you can place it where they're not. When you are focusing on just trying to make contact, let's say you feel a little bit down and you're trying to come out, I hate the word slump, but you're trying to get that consistency back. What is it that you ultimately do you have a favorite drill? Maybe something with your eyes that you try to really focus on?
I bunt. If
But
I'm in a
yeah.
slump and I'm struggling, I'm gonna bunt. I because I that's why I love being a slapper, and I think being a slapper is so important, and we've kinda lost, I think, the art of slapping just a little bit because everybody wants to hit home runs,
Right.
and I think we have a plethora of lefty hitters, but nobody wants to slap because we just wanna hit the ball hard, and I, like, can't speak immensely enough how having certain tools and a lot of tools helps you. Like, if I'm in a slump, it's never because I'm in a slump entirely. It's like, "Oh, my swing isn't working. Maybe my feet are too fast in the box and my slapping timing is just off." Okay, well, then we'll hit. If my hitting's not working, let's drop a bunt. Like, let's change everything up. So there's not really a drill or something I do to kinda center myself. I'm just gonna try and get out in a way that I haven't gotten out before. Like, I'm gonna swing the bat if I've been slapping. I'm gonna bunt. I'm gonna do certain things just to kinda change the level of the game and change just switch up what I'm doing in the box.
Do you read? Like, what determines outside of maybe just not feeling well if you're gonna bunt, slap, or hit? I think a lot of times kids are like, "Well, when do I do what?" Do you have a method to your madness?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it has become pitch selection. So I found that I'm better slapping certain pitchers and certain pitches. So I'm going to slap off of certain pitchers. I found that elevated balls I'm great slapping off of. If I'm having a drop ball pitcher, I might want to swing. And I'm always going to mix a bunt in at any point because I think if you can hit the ball hard and you can bunt, you're golden. Like that's all you really need to do. Hit a ball, high exit velo and bunt. How do you cover like that? Even in itself is hard to cover. But I think when I'm trying to differentiate tools and skills, it's what pitcher am I facing and what pitches am I getting? And that's through years of hitting off of so many pitchers to where I've kind of have just a mental database of things I'm good at off of these pitchers, things I'm not good at. And I just try and match those skills up with certain pitches.
I'm curious as a catcher and then also as someone that is a buntaholic. From a catcher perspective, which bunt is the hardest to get to? Is it the one down first base, the one, that just lands right in front, the one that tails toward third, the one that's right between third and pitcher? Which one's the hardest?
So I like to call it like a little triangle of death. So it's like if you could place the ball perfectly in between the pitcher, the third baseman, the first baseman, and me, that's so hard because you have to be fast because the ball's not that far. Like it's a well placed bunt. It's not going to roll towards anybody else. It's
Mhm.
a well placed bunt and it's just the right space away from all the defenders that we now have to communicate. And not only do you have to communicate, but you have to be consistent and continuous with your movement in order to get an out. So I like when I'm bunting, I don't try and bunt to the third baseman or the first baseman. I try and bunt it to everybody to where everybody has the opportunity to make the play on the ball. And at the same time, the communication, usually nobody can decide who's going to get the ball.
Yeah.
That's the hardest one. Like a ball straight at the third baseman, that's an easy one because we know the communication is either between me or the third baseman. Now you put it for everybody, and we've got a nightmare.
Yeah. Okay, you guys heard that. Get in that triangle of death.
There you go.
Okay, like catching, hitting, you have put all your tools into Athletes Unlimited Softball League in the inaugural season of AUSL this year. What do you feel like has been your best moments you've experienced throughout the inaugural season?
Well, I definitely think I've always been. I'm such a loyal person when it comes to team. Like I would run through a brick wall for my college coaches. I would run through a brick wall for every single one of my teammates I've ever played with. I think it's so fun that we're like being able to build connections in our teams and really thrive there. I think the traditional setting of All-Star Cup where we switch around is super unique and it's super fun. But I think you get new stars and some people work really well in that environment. You see a lot of different people shine when they're comfortable and connected with their teammates. And I think that's been my favorite part about being able to play on one team the entire time is, understand what makes them tick, understand, are they covering this ball? Can they not cover this ball? And that's been something we've been able to kind of establish this summer that we haven't had prior to this because we're always mixing around and changing the environment.
Also, I imagine, having great team chemistry helps when one of your teammates is somebody that you love. Your amazing girlfriend, Mackenzie, is also on your team.
Yes.
How do you guys work together? How is her being on your team help you? How does it help her? How do you guys really talk to each other and help each other be the best softball players?
I'm gonna get this out of the way. This sounds absolutely terrible, but
Okay.
I'm like I've hit on a little bit how how competitive I am. That I love everyone I've ever played with, but the minute you're on the other side of the dugout, I wish nothing but bad things for you in the box. Like I've never wanted anyone to be successful ever. And I feel like that hurts me a little bit. And I think it hurt me mentally, and I just never realized it. Like when I played against Mackenzie, I think if you look at my career batting average, like in games played against Mackenzie, it's probably like 120 because I feel so bad that I'm preying on her downfall. And I am, but now that we're on the same team together, I get to root for her and wish all the best success because she's not the reason that my team is losing. So, but I think it is super fun. I think it's so cool that we have the opportunity to, be together all the time. I think we make each other better. So why wouldn't we want to hang out all the time? And I think it's definitely fun to have that outlet and someone who understands the game to, be able to work together and practice all year long. And I think a lot of my success that is hard work for myself, but it's hard for me to put in that work if she's not there with me, throwing front toss, feeding the machine, doing all the things with me. So I have a lot of credit to her for a lot of my success this last summer.
But like your loved ones are kind of the only people that can cuss you out and we don't take it too personally or, get you
100%.
put you in check and, we're like, okay, I'll take it on the chin. Is there anything that she says that she motivates you or like a moment where you're like, if I didn't love you, I may punch you in the face right now. But thank you for that. I know you're trying to encourage me, so thank you. Love you.
Oh yeah. Well, like any game that we've ever played against each other, like if she's lost, and it's terrible. I'm such a sore loser, especially especially when it's her team that's beating me because like I just really want to be the best at everything that I do. And so like like if when she beat us, like when she was on the Bolts, I I was like, I don't want to talk. I need like I need 2 hours to myself. We're gonna go to our own hotel rooms and I'm gonna sit in silence for a little bit. And then after a little bit, I'm like, okay, you can come in and we can sit and talk about the game. And I think it's awesome to have that in your back pocket. And I think it's healthy to have space when you need it, especially when you're a sore loser like I am. But I think it's truly awesome to be able to kind of reconnect and talk about games and we talk about pitchers and you know, I think my favorite thing to do is sit here and set up machines and be like, "Hey, Mackenzie, we're gonna go hit this today." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, do we have to?" I'm like, "Yeah, we have to." So it really is. It's so fun when you get to train with your best friend right beside you.
Oh, no, that's so dope. That's so dope. And talking about Mackenzie Clark, the standout out of Clemson, is now also standout in AUSL. When we're continuing talking about AUSL being great, being sore losers, I think, and like taking things personally and daring to be great. Um, I don't think you took anything more personal than when you hit your own self in the shin and then came back up and freaking yanked one off the foul pole to what they call the limpin' and pimpin' Kayla Kowalik around the around, around the diamond. First of all, I love watching that because I don't think people realize when we hit ourselves or when we get hit and we just kind of have to shake it off, quote unquote, as if we're not in immense pain, and then go back up and like and swing or just go run and just pretend like when this game is over, I'm gonna be icing for days. For you to go back and do that and then hit a bomb off of what was like what a drop ball. It was low. You went down and got it.
Yeah, I did.
Walk me through that, please.
Absolutely. So, unfortunately, and I guess maybe I wasn't ready for this pitch, but the pitch I'd fouled off against myself was the pitch I was like, "She's gonna give me something hard and inside, and I'm gonna take it 250 feet." And I absolutely took it negative feet right into my ankle,
Yeah.
and it hit the perfect spot on my foot to where my whole entire foot was numb. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, did I just break something?" And I'm like, thankfully nothing was broken. Um, but this is what happens when you don't get inside the ball, is you foul it right off into your foot. But that was 100% the pitch I was hunting. I mishit it. I'm so disappointed. I'm in pain. I can't walk. The umpire's trying to help me out because I took a beating that game behind the plate as well. And so he's trying to help me out and take some pressure off my plate. I'm like, everybody's around me, and I want to lock back in. I want to get ready to hit. I had Aubrey Leach come up to me. She's like, "You don't have to hit. We can put somebody in." I'm like, "Put somebody else in with 2 strikes." I'm
Oh
like, that would
yeah.
be the I would be the worst captain on the planet if I was like, "Hey, come over here and hit for me because and deal with 2 strikes that you didn't put yourself in." So I'm like, "No, I can at least finish the at bat. Like, I can make contact. We don't have to swing very hard." And I think one of the good things also about catching is like I can anticipate pitches really well on when I'm going to get called, and I just kind of figured I was going to get that pitch again, and I for sure was not going to foul that pitch off against on my foot again. But absolutely insane. And then they released the headliner tag of Limpin' and Pimpin', and I knew I would never live that down. And, my dad made fun of me for it. He was like, he was great job. He was glad I wasn't hurt. He was like, "Limpin' and Pimpin' is hilarious." And, I I also have never pulled the ball the way I have in that hit. Like, I don't think I've ever had a hit that far down the line because I usually go oppo.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it was pretty cool. I wasn't trying to do anything too crazy. I literally was just trying to make contact with the ball because I couldn't plant or step. My foot hurt so bad. But it was a great at bat, and
Yeah.
I never thought I would be in, like, a sports moment like that where, I'm, like, limping around the bases, but I had my teammates carry me into the dugout after that, and I've had the best teammates this summer. I've had people literally carry me into the dugout, pick me up off the ground, all of the things. I mean, I couldn't speak more highly of the teammates I've had.
Best teammates make, you know, limping and pimping a little bit better for sure. The job is done. The job is won. And I feel like the big takeaway from that is just go put the bat on the ball. You never know where it's gonna go. It could go out of the park and, then you just walk slowly. We don't have to sprint
Absolutely.
after we just hit ourselves in the shin or in the
Thank
in the foot.
goodness.
I mean, you talked about being, the captain, you don't wanna have to put someone in there with 2 strikes. You were a captain 3 times for 3 series in the Champ Series, and so for you, being able to I mean, in order to be captain, you have to have the points, you have to perform. What do you dive into or look for as a captain to really make the best team that you want?
Good vibes. That's all you need. Like, I I drafted, and of course, you don't get to draft everyone you want because everyone wants to take everybody from you, and, I mean, we have so many great people, but I like drafted people that I knew I would love to play with. And
Mm.
that's why Erin Koppel was my first pick until she ran off and became a captain herself. But I drafted my best friends and I drafted people that I knew would vibe really well and have a lot of fun. And I think that that is an underrated key to success is having fun and having good vibes and not letting the pressure get to you on, feeling like you have to win. Like, let's just go play with our best friends. We're kids on a field again and let's go have some fun.
Yeah, and the format with the Champ Series can sometimes add or feel like it's adding a lot of pressure. Do you feel like when it comes down to creating the team and going out and playing, especially when in the AUSL with the Champ Series, that format where, you have a different team each week, it can feel a lot of pressure and you're judged off of a point system to just go out and have fun. How do you get away from the pressures of performing, needing to be high on the leaderboard? Is there something that you focus on in order to really make sure you can just have fun and not focus too much on other things?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all stems from teammates and who you're playing with
Mm,
and who's beside you. And I think it's connecting with them on a deeper level. Like we do gate questions that we're getting to know each other each week and all the things that, help us mesh together as a team. I think it's funny conversations in the dugout. I think it's like talking pitches with teammates and all the things and just focusing on scratching a run across. And I think the most successful teams I've had are having the most fun and they're joking around in the dugout and they're not taking the game too seriously. And I mean, this game can be as easy as, cracking a joke, making fun of something that happened the inning prior, and the whole tide of the game switches because you're not locked into are we making 10 points this inning? Are we making 20
yeah.
points next inning? Because it really like when you look at it, I mean, don't get me wrong, being a captain has been so stressful and nothing for like as stressful as softball is on your performance, nothing beats looking at the scoreboard of 0 straight across the board into the 5th inning and there's 50 points on the line. Like we choose ways to make this game more stressful. I don't know why, but it's connecting with the people beside you of, hey, yeah, there's 50 points on the line. We've played this game so many times before. Let's just push one run across. Let's push 2 runs across, And it's simplifying it that way and not letting the point system get to your head because if you let it, it will tear you up.
Yeah, it can be hard. You definitely didn't let it because not only were you captain 3 times, but you were crowned the 2025 Athletes Unlimited Softball League All-Star Cup champion. Kayla finished top of the leaderboard with 1,570 total points. And as she stood out on the mound and the confetti fell down as you raised your arms, what were you feeling in that moment knowing that you were number one and you came out top as a champion?
I'm I'm like reminiscing now and
Yeah.
feeling it because now I'm in Lubbock, Texas, back to coaching all day. But I it feels kind of surreal and kind of in that moment was, wow, like all of this hard work you put in so much work in the off season because our off season is so long. And I think it's especially hard like it makes it a little bit easier for facilities, sure, as a coach, but the hours invested into other girls hitting and practice and everybody else performing well to then kind of switch the tide and worry about you performing well, it kind of was relief. Like, that was the big feeling, and it was joy. I think it was a lot of joy for the amount of support and, friends that I had along the way that helped me get there because I if nobody's aware of the point system, majority of your points come from inning wins and game wins. So, sure, I had a lot of I had some individual points that helped push me there and some key hits and key moments to get me some MVP points, but the vast majority of my points were from winning games. And so I kind of like I it kind of felt a little lonely. Like I wish I could have had all my teammates there with me because like I sure I was like at the top and sure I won a gold medal, but like at the same time I'm like I there's so many people who were invested in that win for me to be able to stand where I was at. But I think one of the feelings that was very overwhelming was just joy and a little bit of relief that the season was very successful.
Ugh, so much joy. Did you give a speech?
I did give a speech. They sent well, they They sent out like 2 days before, they sent out a message like, "Hey, like, if you're one of the few that thinks they're gonna win, have a speech ready." And I guess I completely blacked out last year's of, like, Amanda Lorenz giving her speech, so I'm, like, sitting here, I'm, like, winning, I'm like, "This is so fun." And then they send the message about the speech, and I was like, "Oh, shit. I have to speak in front of everybody?" And then I was, like, really nervous. I'm like, "Dang, are we sure I
Yeah.
have to speak?"
You really want
But
this?
I look, if you can win games and you can play in front of thousands of people, you can give a speech, and I did give a speech, and, um, I didn't get emotional. I really thought I was gonna get emotional because of our retirees that we had this year and just how like, and joy, like, that I there's no other word for it, but, like, I was just so overwhelmed with joy of, like, just that summer and how full circle and all my teammates that I had, I love them so much that I literally was nervous. I was like, "If I start crying, am I gonna look lame?" And thank
No.
goodness we didn't cry. But I did give a speech. Literally one of my biggest fears in life is public speaking right behind, like, drowning. So we knocked it out of the park.
Close second to dying,
Very,
public speaking.
very mm, no, it might pass it eventually, but it's in second place.
Okay, can you give us a little insert of what the speech was? Maybe just like a one-liner, you don't have to do the whole thing.
Ooh. Well, I one of my big hits was just touching they made fun of me for it, but I touched on, all our retirees, that I like I was so sad I'm so sad that they're retiring, but all of our retirees are just, like, such great humans, and I touched on a piece about some of them I watched growing up. Like
Oh.
Taylor Edwards, I was, like, 12 years old watching her play in the Women's College World Series, like, like, screaming for her, in the stands. So, I was like, some of you I've, like, looked up watching, like Victoria Hayward, I modeled some of my game after her, loved watching her growing up. And, like, I get to be their teammates, and so they were all laughing at me that I made them feel old, and that was not my intention. I was trying to be sentimental, but,
Right.
they gave me a little bit of a hard time because 'cause some of them are a little bit older, but no,
Kayla, you're not helping.
yeah. No, I'm not. I love you guys,
What would
but
you
yeah.
say from from Kentucky superstar, one of the greatest to wear the jersey, to pro ball, being an AUSL champ, what's your favorite thing that when you look back and you say, "Wow, I did this." What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Senior day. One of my okay, so my senior day I scored the walk-off run on senior day in the bottom of the 7th, and we came back from like a 5 probably not that it was like 3 to 5 run deficit, and so my dad had never been to a game in Lexington before, but he
Mm.
came up for my senior day, and scoring in front of him, like, that run, like, I mean, packed stands, berm was full, and afterwards, like, we go to sign autographs, and there's just thousands of people, like and I'm sitting there signing autographs in front of, like, a big crowd, and my dad's, like, sitting there watching me, and because he knew, like, I was a good softball player, and then he just, like, realized, like, that he got to see, like, the Kentucky community that I fell in love with, that supported me through my entire collegiate career, and all these people, I'm, like, signing autographs and, like, they're and, recognizing some of them, and I'm, like, hugging little kids, and it was one of my favorite memories of, like, him getting to see me in as like, be as successful as I was, 'cause, he'd always understood, but, like, for him to get to see that, and he was like, "This is so cool," and I think that's one of my favorite things that I think back on in my time at Kentucky, because I think one of the things that I fell in love with was the people there, and the community, and I love my dad more than anything in the world, and so for me to be able to match those for the first time in my collegiate career and have him watch that, it was pretty awesome and something that makes you sit back and think, "Wow, like, I made it. Like, we did this."
Mm.
So
Love that. Well, you did, girl. You made it.
I know. Thank goodness.
Okay, we're gonna go now into the no-fly zone segment because, as you know, as a catcher and in the outfield, we love to turn the field into a no-fly zone. And for you, what would you say is your favorite play that you've ever made in your career?
Okay, so we're gonna like flash back to like my freshman year. So my freshman year, I was a center fielder. I was not gonna be our senior catcher out for her spot. And I had played a couple innings of outfield in my travel ball career, was not an outfielder. And for some reason, Coach Lawson thought I could be a center fielder. And damned if I didn't. I was awesome. I don't know what happened. I'm like a mediocre outfielder now. We just need more reads. But
That's it.
for our regional at home, I mean, to see where I had started as an outfielder to our regional at home, playing Virginia Tech and Miami, Ohio, and Northwestern, I was flying all over the field, catching every single ball, loops over the shortstop, ramming into the fence, all the things. So I definitely think I had a couple balls that I caught against a wall and like dove behind shortstop. And I think like play wise, like that game was one of my favorites, just performance wise, showing like versatility in my range was super cool.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Don't let us forget that you were in that outfield, girl. Roaming
We
around, you
can we
made it
can
happen. Yeah.
we can forget a little bit. That way we don't set the expectation too high when I'm like in the outfield now.
Yeah. Okay, like when it comes to softball, we know that failure is a part of the game, but ultimately, failures are what lead us to some of the best successes. What would you say is probably your favorite failure in your career that has led to maybe some of the best successes?
Oh, hands down. Okay, so when I was naturally a
Mm.
righty hitter,
Mhm.
and I was so bad. I mean, awful that instead of like building up my swing, we were like, you know what? Scratch it, get in the other box. And I think whatever coach looked at me and said, you know what? We're gonna cut
Let's start
this.
over.
Let's start over. I owe all of my success to because holy cow. And my sister's a right-handed power hitter, dropped bombs when we were growing up, and I'm just like over here trying to relearn how to slap. And it was the most
Yeah.
disappointing thing on the planet. I multiple times I'm like hitting off of a tee because our hitting coach wouldn't let me hit front toss until my swing was comfortable enough off the tee. I felt like secluded. I'm like crying sometimes. I'm like, is this really fun? And I just never saw the bigger picture, and it ended up working out immensely. But I was so bad right-handed that that's my favorite failure because I wouldn't be the hitter I am today if I was mediocre. I was less than mediocre back then.
There is a message in there. If
There
ever
is
you
somewhere.
feel like, yeah, no matter how bad it may seem, just know there's always a bigger plan. You just gotta stick to it. You don't gotta know it at that moment, but just know
100%.
that it's coming. It's coming. And just, hit auto reset every now and then, see what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is never too late to start from scratch, is all I'm gonna
Oh,
say.
there's the message. It's never too late to
There you
start from
go.
scratch because it could be your best work, the new one that you start. We
Absolutely.
love it. Okay, Kayla, thank you so much for dropping your diamonds. Not only are you an amazing player, but now an assistant coach also at Texas Tech, bringing all that you've learned as a player into coaching. What can we expect from the already amazing and historic season that Texas Tech had last year, coming in this year? How are you adding, and what can we see?
Absolutely. I think well, I mean, aside from new faces, I think we're gonna see a lot of energy and a lot of personality. Already we're scrimmaging right now, and our scrimmages are insane. I coach third base in our scrimmages, and I just wanna go be a fan in the stands because it is just our girls are so fun to watch, and it's only September. So, I'm so excited. Our girls are so energetic, and they're so competitive, so I think we can look forward to a very competitive team with a lot of energy.
Is Coach Kayla and player Kayla very different? Or are you guys kind of similar?
kind of similar.
Okay.
I would say Coach Kayla is a little bit more laid back, and I try and be kind of the emotional support coach. And then player Kayla is when it comes down to the game, like I'm going to be locked in and super competitive. But I try not to put that competitiveness onto my girls because they have enough in them, and they can use me in the back seat. So I think I'm fun on both ends, but we try and take a little bit of a back seat when it comes to coaching, just so our girls can shine for themselves.
So the girls can shine for themselves and ultimately learn our affirmation and diamond that we dropped today to go as slow as you need to get it right so that longevity and success is always in sight. Kayla, thank you again for coming on and dropping your diamonds. I appreciate you, all the amazing things you've done. I can't wait. Love watching you as a player. Can't wait to watch you as a coach.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I had so much fun.
Yay! I'll catch all of you guys next time on the Diamond. Make sure that you're listening all the places where you get your podcast. And see you next week on Diamond. Bye for now.